show me the money and what was done. Show it to me. And I'm asking this legitimately. I'm asking this seriously. What we see, though, is billboards everywhere with signs saying 25 million for dump, fire suppression, 12 million for shipyard and salvaging of wrecks, and this amount. But in terms of the tangible aspect of where the money is, we can't see it. 100 and something million has already been spent. And then the question is, spent on what? In this day and age, right now, Oral, you still have roofless. You still have roofs with tarps on it.
A lot of houses.
A lot with... It is disturbing when you hear the Prime Minister said that there are new criterias for material to be given out. After the material have been sitting there for 2 years. Just sitting there. So if there's new criteria, what's the old one?
The less than the criteria is understand.
But what I'm saying, the only criteria should be that you don't have a roof. That's the only criteria.
You have to prove that you own the property, etc.
But you see, all of that is nonsense. And let me explain to you why it's nonsense. You don't have a roof. Whether you own the property or not, that's your place of residence. Give them the material to fix the roof. Let me explain to you why. It is not government material in terms of the people, taxpayers' money spent for it. It is material that was donated to the government.
So 2 years later, not many roofs have been fixed.
But you tell me, look at it. The material is sitting behind the census office, Carnival Village, just sitting there. That's a crime. That's pure wickedness. It is just sitting there. And then the Prime Minister has the audacity to say they're working on new criteria. So what is the old criteria? What happened? She made mention that, the Honorable Prime Minister made mention that, some people will be given material, but they don't have the manpower to get it done, or they will need more additional. Then you don't know St. Maarten people. Because if you know St. Maarten people, you give them that material, they will find a way to get it on and get it done. They will find a way to get whatever extra is needed. Jollification is going to kick in. Your cousin, your brother, your aunt, your uncle going to come around, whether it's every weekend or every afternoon, and do a little piece until it gets done.
You're on live caller. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a problem since every time it rains, my windows in Belvedere on Delight Estate, the windows, them don't have no handles. I approached Belvedere office many times and I understood they got windows. I asked them repeatedly, can I get my windows? Let me get someone to change my windows. They refuse. They say they don't want you to change your own windows. Every time heavy rain come and get wet, I don't understand. Give me my windows, let me change them.
You see, this is what I'm talking about.
Somebody, or I have friends that does that work. They can come and change my windows for me, but they refuse to give me my windows. They say that they're paying people to change them, and they don't want to come and change my window.
And you see, MP Emmanuel was speaking about that just a while ago, right, MP?
That's exactly what I was speaking about. Why do you have people suffering when the people are telling you, I can get it done by myself? Just give it to me and I will get it done. So this is what I've been talking about. People are suffering under these circumstances, and given the increment weather, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
I call him concerning the MP, the MP there, Mr. Emmanuel. I spoke to him a couple of years back there concerning a blind that I have here. I'm living at the Senior Red Cross home in Belvedere. And I have a problem from a good while now concerning the handle for the blind.
The window.
It's every minute working off, and every minute I have to call the rolling system to fix it to me, for me to put on a new one. And right now it work again. And when I go to the housing over there where I'm paying my money, they're telling me I'm supposed to to fix it, and I am responsible for it. I am a senior, and so I am not making a big lump of money to say fix these things.
Exactly.
They're taking monies from me, say, for maintenance, and they really do not come to say maintenance to do anything for me, because sometimes when I have something simple to do, I will get somebody and I will call them and I have to pay them also and get it fixed for me. But I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about the blind.
The blind.
When the wind and the rain, right now it's here, it's not properly fixed, properly done. So when the wind and the rain come, I get water.
Water goes in.
I get the wind, I get rain come inside. So I'm glad that I see you there with Mr. MP so that I can ask him, because I don't know who to talk to, who to go to. And you go to housing, they're telling me, go come back. They're not responsible. I could be responsible when the house is place that belongs to me. And I find it's hard for me to be every minute have to pay monies to fix the handle. I ask them if they can please do me the favor and put like something so that I can just push or touch and the blind will go up and down on its own. The gentleman over there told me it's too much money for them. But what about me? I'm a poor person, a poor woman. What about me? If it's too much for them, it will supposed to be too much for me also.
Let me tell her what I would do.
Hold on, caller.
Let me tell you what I would do, because I'm very much familiar with what you're talking about, because you did approach me one time about it, and we went and we got assistance for it. But listen to what I'm going to do. I am coming to look at that tomorrow, and I'm going to get Rolling System themselves to come and fix that situation.
Are there any other areas in government that you feel a lot of concern about?
But everything in government is a concern.
Everything?
Everything in government is a concern. Or look at the country. Where are we heading? Where are we moving? What is going? I don't know if you remember when there was a whole issue when we must approve the budget. We must do this, as the airport wouldn't get this money and the airport wouldn't get that. Or else, up to this present day, the airport haven't received the money.
Well, I had Mr. Marcel Gomes here, who's St. Maarten representative on the steering committee. He said the money is already approved. The 100.
Well, it's irrelevant to me what Marcel Gomes has to say. As a matter of fact, he shouldn't even be there, period. Okay? Again, this is when you just reward individuals for rewarding sake. The money is approved, the money is there, so why the airport don't have it? The airport don't have it, however, the so-called CFO is already working on the airport, and he's not sworn in as yet. He hasn't passed the screening as yet, but he's there. The board members are there. Those are the conditions that was met. You want this money, which is a 50 million from the European Investment Bank and another 50 million from the trust fund that will be given to the government, and then the government would loan it to the airport. Where is the money? But that's not the bad part about it, Naura. The bad part about it is this. You created a position for a CFO. So he's not a CFO right now. He's special advisor to the CEO, because he's not sworn in. He hasn't passed screening. So you created a position for him. The question is, when he passes the screening or gets into the position, would that position that is specially created for him still exist? And who would be the one occupying this position? Because if you created a position just for him, it is wrong. Simply, it boils down to raping, scraping money from St. Maarten by Michael Ferrier. And let me explain to you why I'm saying this. Here you have the former Minister of Finance, a minister who would have been responsible or in discussions with the Prime Minister in terms of putting a priority list together, what the monies will be used for, and how much should be put at every priority for the NRBP, World Bank, to progress and build back better. So you would see 25 million for the landfill suppression. You would see a certain amount of millions for the hospital. You would see 12 million or more for the salvaging.
Yeah.
Now, understand what I'm saying and where I'm going with this. The former minister had this inside information because he was part of it.
So you're referring to Michael Ferrier?
Michael Ferrier. He was part of this inside information, knowing that a certain amount of money would be directed to salvaging the boats from the lagoon. He was the finance minister during that time. And you remember a priority list had to be put together. Right. So he would have been responsible for putting this priority list together with the prime minister and other ministers. So he knew that 12 million and more would be going to salvaging the yachts out of the lagoon. So that is already done. And what does the good gentleman? He pulls himself out from being minister and moves into the part now of acquiring these monies for the shipyard, because the shipyard was to be used for the placement of those yachts, of those vessels that is salvaged from the lagoon. And the former minister, then Minister Miklos, said, listen, on March 22nd, we are terminating the long lease with Shipyard NV because you owe us 1.2 million guilders, and you haven't paid in 12 years. So we are terminating the lease. But for the good gentleman Ferry, that's craziness, because now we just put together this 12 million for these salvaging, and now you're terminating the lease. But how is this? So he wrote government a letter. And by writing government a letter, he said that I received your letter terminating the lease, but as a managing director of the companies and individually as a minority shareholder, this is what he said he is. It is not monies that is owed to those that is leasing the property. It's money that is owed to the people of St. Maarten. 1.3 million can go a very long way in assisting individuals. And that is what is happening in this case. You claim to be someone that you're not. You impersonate someone. You wrote this letter to the Council of Ministers. Attention to the Prime Minister. And you go on and you make all sorts of commercials to play it down and joke about the situation. But it's not a laughing matter. It's insider trading. You knew exactly what was happening, and you're looking to benefit from it. It is wrong. It is illegal. It needs to be investigated. And the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers should be held accountable, because he made attention to the Prime Minister. So it tells me in that letter, he addressed this letter to the Prime Minister. In the motion, what we are saying is that this property should not be given to Shipyard NV no more, but it should be given to the airport. Why to the airport? Because the airport needed it for its expansion. So it should not be given to the shipyard anymore, because Michael Ferrier and Jeff Boy only concern is to make money from the World Bank funds. So you need to question now, right now, you need to question the director of the NRBP. Are you going to distance yourself from what is happening here? Because it is clear that for them, it's to make this money. And my main concern is, why is the Prime Minister not investigating this? Because you profess yourself to be the government of integrity. You want to know you want an investigation on who is leaking all this information and who's leaking this. But here it is, bold in front of your face, where the former minister is telling you, bullying the ministers and saying, I want this done. Give me another 12-year lease. People is trying to come at me for 35,000. That should be reported. And then.
But why?
It should be reported.
No, why are they coming at him for 35,000?
Because they're saying, look, listen. In the letter, let me read what it says. In the letter, right? He says, We furthermore brought to the Minister of Rummy's attention the remarks, rumors that they conveyed to us, not only the individual seeking $35,000, but from others who claimed that a lucrative deal was in the making with others that would allow them to issue the lease on the shipyard properties, at which point they would benefit from the World Bank shipyard salvaging funds. But that's what it is. It's all for them to make money. And this is what Michael Ferrier sent to the Council of Ministers. So someone is trying to extort $35,000 from you. What did the Prime Minister tell you? What did the Prime Minister say? Did the Prime Minister report it? Is the prosecutor's office listening to this?
Have you ever spoken with the Prime Minister as a member of Parliament?
I haven't spoken to the Prime Minister as a member of Parliament. But what we have done as a member of Parliament and as a faction of the nation, we have requested all requisite documentation concerning the shipyard envy and the Ministry of Rummy from 2018. We have requested all the information from last year because definitely we are saying that this needs to be investigated by the authorities. And I'm going to go even further than that when I made mention that not only should it be investigated, but the former minister should be investigated personally. And let me explain to you why. The Penal Code Section 2185 states, the person guilty of forgery in writing or impersonation shall be punished by imprisonment up to 8 years or a fine to the 5th category if committed in authentic documents. These documents are authentic. You wrote them. Your signatures are on them. You send them to the Council of Ministers. You made that claim.